And many times I'm receiving questions from people who are saying, how do I get him back? How do I get her back? The question is kind of interesting of itself, because when somebody is gone and they've decided that they don't want you, why do you want them? What's going on with you that you want someone who doesn't want you? It's a very curious question, isn't it? And I hope you'll really think about it if that happens to fit. That you want somebody so desperately who's already said no to you. Now, I know that from a feeling level, it feels bad to have somebody go away. And especially somebody that you really cared about. So I'm not being callous or suggesting that there is some way that you're supposed to immediately get over this person. However, I really am inviting you to think more deeply about, if someone doesn't want you, why would you want to convince them or persuade them or influence them to come back to you when they've already made a decision about you? There's a few things that play into this. And once you're over the hump of feeling so hurt, I hope you'll think about these things. Is it because your self-esteem took a hit and you want to prove that you're worthwhile and therefore they're wrong and you're right? That's not going to work. Have you been abused before in some way, emotionally, verbally, physically, and you think that you don't deserve better, so you want somebody who doesn't want you? Are you afraid to be alone? And so this person, even if they don't want you, or maybe they're not the best person for you, you still think they're better than nothing? There are lots of reasons why people want people back. Some women, hardwired as we are to be nurturers, think, well, I can work with that person. If I just nurture them enough, love them enough, make myself into a pretzel enough for them, then they will see that this is the place for them. You don't want to be doing that either. It's so important for us to realize that there is a big difference between being loved and being used. And it's possible that you have been in the habit of not seeing those two things as separate. So when someone says to you, I'm done with you, I don't want to be with you anymore, I don't like you, maybe I never did, maybe it was just convenient, maybe life brought us together and we supported each other for a while, but I'm moving on. When someone says that to you, believe them. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. And always believe their behavior over their words. Many times people will say to me, oh, but I know he or she really loved me. That's great. What evidence in reality did you have for that? Or was that just a thought that you had, a hope that you had? You were just seeing the good parts. Maybe you didn't see the downsides. And now they've moved on and you are left a bit hanging. And so you're feeling badly. But why would you want someone back who doesn't want you? Is that beginning to sink in? It's not a wise move. It's not a good thing to do. And you can spend a lot of energy and time bemoaning the fact that they're gone and thinking about ways to get them back. But they're not worth it. If they've already moved on, they've told you something important about themselves. So, if you're afraid to be alone, solve that problem. Be with other people. You don't have to rush into a relationship right away. You can make sure that you reconnect with all your friends, belong to some community group, take a class, do something that is something that enriches you, something you're interested in, and that's feeding you and nurturing you and making you feel part of a community. Do these things. You know, the whole of life is not about having a guy or getting the girl. Life is a well-rounded, well-balanced experience. We need lots of people in our lives, all at different levels of relationship. So when somebody says, I don't want this relationship anymore, or even goes so far as to say, I don't want you anymore, think about it. I know you have to get over the hurt. One of the ways to get over the hurt is to not keep talking about it. Sure, get it out to a few good friends about how terrible you feel, and then drop that conversation. Because every time you tell that story again, you're reminding your entire body, all your cells, that the ain't it awful and he or she done me wrong. And that's just going to keep you stuck. So heal your wounds. It may take a long time, but it'll get better every day as long as you're looking towards what you want to create in your life, rather than sitting around bemoaning the fact that that person doesn't want you anymore or that person doesn't love you anymore. I hope that you will take this to heart, because it's your life that's going by when you're spending a whole lot of time wanting someone who doesn't want you. And remember, believe their behavior. They were probably telling you quite a few ways that they were not fully into this relationship. But in the heat of the moment, or in the joy of our brain being flooded with hormones and chemicals, we just looked at the good stuff and forgot to notice that there were other things going on. It's really wise to remember a red flag when it shows up. These things don't happen instantly. That person did not instantly take a desire to go and be somewhere else. They were working up to it, or maybe they were never fully committed in the first place, but you didn't want to see that. So take this to heart. You can have a wonderful relationship with yourself. You can have wonderful relationships with your friends and family. And you will have another relationship in your life, a love relationship. One who treats you well, loves you for who you are, accepts you with all of your joys and flaws, and truly loves you. Remember that till we talk again.